Poland's GDP per capita has increased tenfold, and there's still space for further growth.
You are absolutely great. Cześć and welcome back. So we already viewed a few times that Poland is on a rise, as well economically as well as military, and in general that Poland does its best to become a European stronghold. And we are now watching, is Poland becoming not only a stronghold but also a superpower? By the way, before we start, you find even more content like this and exclusive reactions like to 1670 on my Patreon. Link is in the description. Thank you so much for that.
Poland's economic rise over the past 30 years or so has been truly meteoric. After regaining independence from the USSR in the late 90s, Poland's GDP per capita has increased tenfold, and there's still space for further growth. In fact, the OECD estimates that the median Polish household will actually be wealthier than their UK counterparts before the end of this decade. So in this video, we thought we'd take a look.
I need to get a Polish girl to get wealthy, right?
Look at Poland's impressive economic growth, how this all happened, and whether we should expect it to continue into the future.
TLDR news. Interesting. Where are they from? From Britain?
To understand quite how impressive Poland's economic rise has been, you need a bit of historical context. And that's because it's worth knowing that as a nation state, Poland has an extremely dark history. Now, that's largely because it sits between Russia and Western Europe, and as a result, it's been
or more Germany.
invaded many times, with Poland suffering enormously during the Second World War. Having been divided up by the Soviets and Nazi Germany, Poland lost a lot more people than any other EU country in Allied forces during the Second World War, amounting to over 5 million Poles, including some 3 million Polish Jews. After the war, though, Poland was fully subsumed into the Soviet Union, in part because Stalin successfully purged the country of all non-communist Polish nationalists and renamed it the Polish People's Republic. However, after the war, Poland's economy was already in ruins, and it only grew sluggishly under the Soviet Union.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Look at this here, and then at this economic rise. That is incredible.
Only grew sluggishly under the Soviet Union. In 1999, though, when the communist system finally collapsed, Poland's per capita income... In 1999, though, when the...
1991.
Communist system finally collapsed, Poland's per capita income was literally a tenth of its developed Western European neighbors. To be more precise, according to World Bank data, Poland's GDP per capita in 1990 was $1,700. For context, the UK, France, Germany, and Italy all had GDP per capitas of somewhere between $19,000 and $20,000.
Crazy.
In fact, even poorer Western European states were significantly wealthier than the Poles. Portugal, for example, had a GDP per capita of about $8,000. Fortunately for Poland, though, things have changed quite a lot since then. And that's because Poland's economy grew steadily throughout the 90s, reaching a GDP per capita of about $5,000.
Already like
2000s.
3 times, you know? Already 3 times.
Economic growth then accelerated yet further from 2004 onwards after they joined...
Another time, 3 times.
Please hit like and subscribe. It would help me so much. Thank you.
EU. Reaching a GDP per capita of $14,000 in 2008, just before the financial crisis. And today, Poland has a GDP per capita of about $19,000, literally 10 times what it was in 1990.
Even more like 11, a little bit more than 11 times.
And not that far behind Western European countries like Portugal and Greece, which have GDP...
Greece? I don't know. I don't... would say Greece is a Western European country. I mean, I think it's probably more east than, I don't know, than Poland and Czechia, than Austria.
Per capitas of about $24,000 and $20,000 respectively, making it one of the fastest growing economies anywhere in the EU. As such, Poland has become a paradigm case of transitioning away from a centrally planned economic model into a market system and democracy. And this comparison with other similar post-Soviet economies is striking. Take Ukraine, for example. In the 1990s,
Oh
after
my
the
God.
collapse of the Soviet Union, Poland and Ukraine both had similar GDP per
Yeah.
capita. However, in 2020, before Putin's invasion, Poland's GDP per capita was more than triple that of
You are absolutely great. That's the Salatwich culture, right? That is getting things done.
The Polish economy has also proved remarkably resilient to crises and external shocks. For example, in 2020, after the onset of the pandemic, Poland's unemployment rate, already one of the lowest in the EU, barely budged, and GDP contracted by only 3.5%, significantly less than the OECD average of 5.5%. And well below the likes of the UK, who experienced a contraction of...
So economically thinking, that means that you have still much way to grow, because if you are, if you don't have much growth and then a crisis happens, you will fall deeper. But this little growth will bounce it better up,
9.9%. So how has this happened? Why has Poland's economy grown so quickly? Well, we can see several reasons behind this. For starters, Poland has been one of the largest recipients of EU cohesion funds, receiving a total of 213 billion euros since it joined the EU in
It's so weird to see this number like that. I don't know.
And it's not just about the volume of money either. Poland has been using this money wisely, investing and developing both its infrastructure and agriculture. The second reason, though, is Poland's membership of the EU single market, which has allowed for the free flow of
I know many
capital.
people of you always say that EU is banned, but here, I think that you joined the EU is a very good thing, and I think you benefited a lot from them. That not everything is great in the EU, of course, but I don't think that it's as bad as many Poles think. That's just my opinion.
Goods, services, and people. Situated in the middle of the continent between Western Europe and Russia, with a large, well-educated population and solid consumer base, Poland has become one of the EU's trading hubs. And intra-EU trade now accounts for 74% of Poland's exports. Similarly, 67% of Poland's imports come from other EU member states. The third reason, though, is Poland's diversified economy. As we mentioned earlier, agriculture and manufacturing still play a significant role, but other industries are emerging, such as defense and aerospace,
the Polish defense, oh my god,
automotive sector, and information and communication technologies. And the growth of these sectors...
We watched already The Witcher, great trailer it was.
Does partly explain why Poland's economy has proven to be so resilient to external shocks. Take the automotive industry, for example, which is fast becoming one of the key branches of the Polish economy.
You are more like, you're not having Polish brands, or at least, is there a Polish car brand? I think you're more like delivering for German brands, right? So Zulieferer, as we would say in German.
Approximately 180,000 people now work in the sector, making it the fourth largest industrial employer in the country. And in terms of IT, Poland is already the #1 destination in the Central and Eastern Europe region.
Really, the #1?
Research and development projects, driven essentially by international software companies. These new industries then, and their increasing influence in the Polish economy, has allowed them to weather storms that other countries have struggled with, diversifying and spreading their economic heft. Last but not least, though, Poland has also invested heavily in its armed forces, with plans to raise the country's defense spending to 4% of GDP. And
that's
with the
way
aim
beyond. I think you have to have 2%, right, of GDP.
Of becoming the largest army in Europe. This massive
You're already the largest army.
Investment has unsurprisingly led to an influx of large aerospace companies from Western Europe and North America setting up in Poland, with one area of the country now even dubbed Aviation Valley. But even with these 4 impressive feats...
I mean, from an economical standpoint, just from an economical standpoint, of course, also the Polish wages are way lower, for example, than in Germany, in more Western countries, right? And that means, of course, you are also very good to find cheaper employees, which is always also a reason why you go there in the first place. But of course, in the end, because the economy grows, in a few years from now, this will more be like equal to Germany, stuff like that. But right now, it's of course very, very good to invest into Poland.
how far can Poland go? Could they really overtake more established EU nations such as Portugal or even Spain? Well, no one can know for sure, but there are at least two
I would say
reasons.
yes. I would say they Portugal pretty easily. Spain maybe in 10 to 20 to 30 years. Yeah, I would say that, yes.
For optimism, its highly educated labor force and high levels of foreign direct investment. First, let's take a look at the labor market, because the Polish labor force is highly educated. According to the Programme for International Student Assessments, in 2018, Poland was the major European country with the highest overall PISA score, finishing just above the United Kingdom in second place and Germany in third. And the results of this are a huge number of highly qualified Polish developers and IT professionals, which is clearly good for the long-term health of the country's economy. The second reason for optimism, though, is a high level of foreign direct investment. In fact, in 2019, Poland ranked third in Europe in terms of greenfield investments, attracting $21.8 billion of investment. Examples of this include Northvolt's $200 million investment in Gdansk, which will establish the largest factory in Europe for energy storage solutions, creating over 500 well-paid jobs. Other examples include Microsoft's $1 billion digital investment, which includes its first data center in the region, providing cloud services to businesses and governments, or Google's $200 billion data hub in Warsaw. Obviously, all of this should be taken with a pinch of salt. No one knows how this will pan out, and the last few years have shown us that economic forecasting is definitely more of an art than a science. Nonetheless, Poland's fundamentals look good, and it's at least possible that they end up converging with their Western European neighbors sometime soon. But Poland isn't the only country underestimated and under-discussed. In fact, there are fascinating places all over the world which you maybe have never even heard of.
Well, I have to say, I already thought it a little bit, but those numbers confirm it even more, that Poland is on the rise. I don't think Poland will become in the next 20, 30, 40 years like a big European superpower like Germany, you know, like the biggest superpower in Europe. But probably, I think they can go to the top 5. Maybe, I don't know, France, Germany, UK, and yeah, maybe even top 4 with Poland. I don't know how good is Italy, to be honest. Maybe Italy, I don't know exactly. But I definitely think they could become a top 5 member. And it clearly shows, I think, a bright future, especially if you consider that the downfall after the crisis in the 2020s right now was not so much, that this is also shows that it is resilient. So I think that Poland has a very, very bright future, and yeah, very good for you guys. I hope you liked this video, to be honest. If you do, then please, I hope you liked the video, keep liking and subscribing, and we see each other in the next one. Bye!